Let's summarize what we've been discussing here. In learning meditation, we first have to learn some muscle memory by practicing shamatha with its focus on an object and the mindfulness training that comes from that to keep from straying from the object. This takes time because at the same time we have to become familiar, or we will become familiar, with how the mind works. Plus the fact that we can't just will or force our mind to rest. We each have to discover how to let the mind rest in its natural state, naturally. And that's where the problem comes in. That's the rub. There is no pill that you or I can take to become more aware. And the amazing thing is that no one can do it for us. If the Buddha were here right now, and I found this always interesting, he couldn't just touch me on the forehead and enlighten me. The total extent of his power would be to show me how to enlighten myself. So each of us has to do it for ourselves. And since we don't really know what enlightenment, what mind recognition, and even what much greater awareness feels like, we're each kind of feeling our way along in the dark on this. We don't know what it is we're trying to achieve. This is why it's sometimes helpful to have someone who knows or who already knows how to meditate to guide us, to show us how, and especially to be there to answer the questions that just naturally arise. We have to learn to let the mind rest. In fact, we naturally let the mind rest much of the time, but when we're not thinking about it. We have to gradually learn how to do this consciously. What we need to develop is an awareness of the mind at rest, and also how to let the mind just rest. This is best done on the cushion as part of a regular Dharma practice. Trying to do it off the cushion in the beginning is not the way to learn this. That comes later. Once the habits of resting and mindfulness have been acquired, we will notice that these same habits also work off the cushion as well as on the cushion. In other words, whatever we are concentrating on in life, our work or whatever it is, where we have some concentrated moments, when we are distracted from it, we can always gently bring the mind back to the task at hand and continue. This alone is a great help, especially for those of us who have to work for a living. Being able to concentrate on a task, to do it properly, and to finish it in a timely manner is a great skill to have. It can make the difference between keeping a job and losing a job. Also, the two accumulations, merit and awareness that I discussed, also work off the cushion as well as on. Whatever awareness we can acquire in our life, we can use that awareness to better see more clearly and to better execute skillfully whatever it is we're doing. Those more skillful actions generate still greater awareness, greater clarity, which allow us to be even more skillful yet in what we do, which generates more clarity and awareness and so on. Into infinity. A little trickier, perhaps, excuse me, a little trickier, perhaps, but also very useful is learning to not dwell on thoughts and events over which we have no control. When my dog brings something home that's dead and rotten, I just say, "Leave it," and he usually does. we have to each learn to leave behind us hurts, insults, past aggressions, and whatever you've got, so they don't ingrain themselves in our mind stream. So let me remind you, it's not pleasant when someone is rude to me, or a friend walks by me and doesn't even say hello. I can only guess at the reason. But if I get my feelings hurt, if I spend minutes, hours, days, or weeks dwelling on this, I am just adding insult to the injury, if it was an injury, but I might have imagined it was, by having these hurt feelings. These are my feelings, and only I have any control over them. Even if the person who snubbed me did it purposely, I'm still responsible for my response to the snub. We can learn to just drop it and let it go, and stop recording karma for that event. If we get our feelings hurt, if we think about the event over and over and over, each time we think of it, we are digging a deeper track. We are inscribing our hurt in our own mind stream, which then actually obscures our vision and sucks up our precious energy. Worse yet, all of that embedded inscription of the event does not just end there and fade away. No, it's what's called karma, and it ripens and appears again over time as a further obstacle to obscure our mental clarity. It ripens. An analogy that's not far off would be if we made razor cuts on our arm, some deeper and deeper and deeper, etc. Not only would that mess up our arm, but in time the arm would have scars that would remain with us for a long time. The feng shui of the mind is something to think about too. We also have mental scars. In other words, with karma, we don't just have to worry about not doing the big things like not killing someone or stealing something. It's this perpetual rain of small karma that really adds up and clogs the windshield of our mind. It's hard to remove and can easily, or fairly easily, actually be avoided. You see, karma is cumulative over time. If we can learn to just drop those things that we cannot change and turn our attention to other things, then while some karma is certainly recorded, at least it's not endlessly re-recorded and inscribed into our mind stream. We may get cuts from our initial reaction, what hurt us, but not the deep scarring that's fairly normal to all of us. You know pretty well what I'm talking about, going over and over and over something that has hurt us. It's much better just to drop it. And please don't forget to dedicate the merit and make at least some aspiration going into either a meditation practice or any life work. We may take care of the big things in life, but still be eaten up by the little things that we do. The fact is that becoming more aware also means becoming increasingly responsible for everything we do. And that means everything. Why is it that Zen monks and meditation masters somehow find rest in their every action, in everything they do? They're that mindful. They're that aware. So it's the little things that add up. And this is something that gradually we can do something about. Meditation is basically inner mental aerodynamics, learning to airstream our mind so that it can perfectly rest in the winds of change that blow instead of the crazy kite that most of us are flying now. So anyway, there you have a brief introduction and comments on shamatha meditation. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at michael@erlewine.net.